Test, 1, 2, 3. What's going on, team? It's Ricky with Tech Up Solutions. I hope that you guys are all having an amazing Sunday. In this video, we're going to be talking about the top 10 stocks that you guys all see value in, and pretty much to kind of like summarize the idea of these Sunday stock talks. The goal is never for us to encourage you to trade anything by any means. You should never trade based off of anyone else's opinion. But my main goal throughout this video is to talk about a series of stocks that you are already not aware of and hope that you can cherry pick the ones that you see the most value in, add them to your watch list, set your alerts, and follow up with it when it makes sense. So let's go ahead and see, is the stream live right now? If so, please let me know, because I previously was having some issues with it. So we got Marco, we got Alex. So let's go. What's going on? Is a Rebel? What's good? What's going on, Edward? There we go. Oh, very nice. There we go. Live. All right. We're all good. I really do appreciate you guys being so patient with me. And yeah, it looks like we were having some issues with this. But let's go ahead and get right to it. I just want to talk about the stocks that you guys see value in. I pinned Ismail's ticker call out format here. So if you would like me to break down your top stock, all I literally ask you is for you to post it in the ticker call out format, just to make sure that I know that you've dedicated some time to breaking down those stocks, right? So I'm going to move this right on over here, and let's see what we got going on. So looks like the market as of right now, if I'm not mistaken, is down a little bit. So that's the /NQ feature. So of course, overall direction can change, so that's definitely something that you want to take into consideration. But here we go, and here we go. All right, so we have a couple good ones that I want to talk about, but I want to break down the ones that you guys see value in first, and then we can go from there. How does that sound? So I don't know why this is. There it goes. All righty. So /NQ /NES ES. Here it goes. All right. Here it goes. So we got ticker symbol IBM. Sweet. So I appreciate you posting it in the ticker call out format. Here it goes. So IBM as of right now is super oversold, and of course this has to do. These are probably one of my favorite reversals to trade. The way that this would have been a more ideal setup is, well, first to elaborate a little bit more on why is this one of my favorite reversals to potentially trade. You can see that it reported earnings, it acted as a negative catalyst, and it's been aggressively selling off, right? So because it became so oversold, and it's the earnings that acted as a negative catalyst, sometimes, not always, but we tend to see a recovery when, again, this news of this earnings ends up dying out, right? We've seen this with Facebook. We've seen this with Bed Bath & Beyond. We've seen this with numerous companies where the earnings acts as a negative catalyst. It's usually very short-lived, usually. It sells off, becomes oversold, and then it slowly begins to recover. So this is where I would see this to be a potential reversal opportunity, but we need to wait for a higher high. So I'm going to set my alert for the break above the EMA line, and I'm also going to set my alert for the break above 120, just to make sure that, again, I am reminded when this thing begins to, show signs of proper confirmation. And for those that love to ask, what does confirmation mean? The way that I view confirmation is, again, I just want to make sure that I'm putting my money in something that's increasing in value. So confirmation to me would be viewed as above the EMA line, higher highs, showing signs of growth. As we know, it's not easy to make money in the stock market, but it's so much easier when the direction is in your favor. So that's the first one that we're going to be breaking down today. There we go. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So we got Sebastian with Tesla. So obviously Tesla being a very popular one. Overall market's just been having a rough past couple of 2 weeks. This is something that we all just have to take into consideration. I know a lot of people have been struggling because of the inconsistencies or the bearish direction. I know a lot of you guys, just because I trade ETFs, you guys still decide to not trade ETFs. I think that's absolutely amazing. But for myself, as the market's been selling off, I've been able to focus on SQs or SQQQ, which is the inverse ETF that goes up when the market goes down. So I've been able to do pretty well with that for the past week. I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, I only have one Instagram account, just to let you guys know. But I ended every single day last week on a green note. So Friday being my smallest day where I made $500, and my biggest day was a little bit over $3,000. So it was a very eventful week for myself. But then there's stocks like this. This is what I like to think about and what I like to remind people. It's like it might be unfortunate right now because the past 2 weeks the market has been bearish. Tesla's been selling off, all that good stuff, right? This only means that we can better prepare for a better future, right? So if the market is bound to recover and it's really only a matter of time, right? Then this is when we can choose to be selective, choose to put our money in stocks that we find to be oversold or undervalued as right now, especially if you plan to hold it for a long-term position, especially as a lot of companies last week and this week are reporting earnings. Just make sure you take that into consideration. So right now, Tesla is making lower lows and lower highs. Can this continue? Of course, we're seeing a lot of inconsistencies due to the debate, the election, the second stimulus check, all that good stuff. So definitely something where I would be very careful with your position size. But I would also really encourage you to be super selective with where you choose to put your money, and just to make sure that, because if you put it or trade or begin to invest with too much money, maybe you just won't be able to tolerate that risk or the bearish kind of like motion that we're seeing as of right now. So nothing wrong with holding back, nothing wrong with taking a small position size or just holding back altogether until direction becomes a little bit more clear. But I definitely like Tesla, and as you know, I'm a little biased on this one because I'm personally invested in Tesla. But just because I am doesn't mean that you are, again. But I'm trying to find a middle ground where I have enough in Tesla that I feel effective, but not so much that I get emotional. So I think that's something that we can all work towards. So let's go ahead and break down the next one. What's going on? Is it Connor? Is it Fisher? So you got PLL. Here we go. So PLL. Okay. So again, I personally don't like trading like pump and dumps, and it's just showing a lot of signs of this. You might be asking how. Well, I had no volume. All of a sudden, it shot up, and the volume shot up, and it aggressively pulled back, shot up, aggressively sold off, and it's been making lower lows and lower highs. So it is approaching previous support range. It just looks like this is a very manipulated stock. I don't trade them. There's a lot of inconsistencies. Can you make money with this? Of course, you can make money doing anything, but it's the high risk, high reward type of approach that this pretty much presents, and that's just not my cup of tea, to say the least. So, all right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So we got Party City. I see a couple of you guys asking for Party City. Just make sure you post it in the ticker call out format, and I'd love to break it down for you. What's going on, Edwin? So we got HD, which should be Home Depot, right? So we got HD here. So at $283, again, one of the things that we need to take into consideration is that as up and coming earnings, and I think that's in 2 weeks for them, right? Yeah, so 11/17. A little bit over 2 weeks. So the cool thing about this is right now we are approaching the SMA line, kind of like what we were saying is a lot of stocks right now have been selling off a little bit, and because of that sell-off, they're presenting pretty good deals, especially if you plan to hold for a long period of time. Just, again, watch your position size, because we all know that it can continue to sell off with these inconsistencies that we've been experiencing due to the election. As of right now, would I view this thing to be like the best deal ever? No, of course not. I mean, it's had a previous resistance multiple times, once here, once here, once here, and once here, right around like 290, 292 to be all like at all highs. And right now we're right around 280. Does it make sense that it could bounce and push up? Yes, it's a 3% margin, and that's for a perfect trade. And at least in my experience, I'm nowhere close to being a perfect trader. So you might even just capture half of that at 1.5%. And I personally just don't think those margins to be worth it. But again, to each their own. But I really do appreciate you letting me break that one down for you. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. So we got SPOT. So we got SPOT. Here we go. A little bit more on the overbought side on SPOT. As you guys can see, it's been very bullish, right? Making higher highs and higher lows. But one of the things that I personally would take into consideration is just approaching previous highs. We have up and coming earnings, which of course can act as a positive or negative catalyst depending on the way that earnings go. So it's kind of like rolling the dice. But as of right now, based off of previous resistance levels, I would have to say it's a little bit more on the overbought side. And this is kind of where like I'm put in a pickle. And I think a lot of you guys might agree with me where something is very bullish and it's been making higher highs and higher lows, but it's so overbought that it's not a good deal. So obviously you want to go with the flow if the overall direction's in your favor, but it's so overbought that it's like, is it the best deal, or maybe I should just wait when I can buy it for a better deal. So it really depends on your intention. Do you want to trade it? Do you want to invest in it? If your intention is to invest in it, I think it's too overbought and not a good deal. It's not really setting yourself up very well. If you want to trade it, then that's up to you if you find the margins to be worth it. So let's go ahead and break down another one. So we got Javier with ticker symbol AMD. So we got ticker symbol AMD right here. All right. So same thing. We have earnings this week for AMD, as you guys could see, based off of previous support levels. It looks like it's trying to test the SMA line, which is the green line that you see right on over here. And we have earnings on the 27th, which is of October, which is this week. One of the things that we might need to take into consideration, again, lower highs, right? So lower highs, lower lows. Although we are above the EMA line, it's been above the EMA line multiple times and then just gets rejected and makes new lows, gets rejected and makes new lows, and that's after breaking above the EMA line. So nothing wrong with being selected. As of right now, this isn't the best deal. And when it comes down to earnings, can we see that thing act as a significant drop? Yeah, just as much as we have seen it act as a positive catalyst. AMD has been killing it recently, just pretty much outperforming really Intel, which was viewed as one of their direct competitors. So it's amazing to see a company do so well and thrive during such an unfortunate time. But as of right now, all I would think about is setting yourself up. Is right now a time that you can buy and tolerate a potential loss if it continues to sell off? And if so, just make sure you watch your position size. If not, then again, there's nothing wrong with waiting for a little bit more clear indication and wait for proper confirmation of higher highs and higher lows. So let's go ahead and break down 5 more. And then this should be the stream. So we got Bethany with SIX. So SIX. Here we go. So this one definitely is a little bit more on the overbought side. It does have up and coming earnings, and it did not perform very well last time it had its earnings. But if you guys could see based off of current price points and based off of recent lows, I'm just saying that it's more on the overbought side. The margins wouldn't necessarily be worth it for myself, of course, unless there's a positive catalyst due to the earnings, which again, it's a shot in the dark. I'm not too sure if that's something that I would ever encourage anyone to kind of like, well, buy, hope, and hold, and hope that it goes up in your favor when something is already super overbought. Do you get what I mean? So that's the only thing that I would take into consideration if you actually wanted to buy it for a decent day trade or even an investment. I just think it'd make a little bit more sense based off of previous support levels at right around $20 a share. So let's go ahead and break down the next ones. We got Chegg. I like it. So we got CHGG. How many of you guys, for all those watching right now, are familiar with Chegg? It helped me out a lot in high school, right? And in college. So based off of recent highs, we could see that right around 190 based off previous resistance levels. We've gotten rejected there before. That's essentially where we're at as of right now. I just see a lot of downside. Can it continue to go up? Of course, Chegg has been super, super bullish, and it's just something that, as of right now, all I'm thinking about is all about setting yourself up. And right now, it looks very, very on the overbought side versus a good deal. It is about to report earnings. That's something that you want to take into consideration. But with that being said, again, that can definitely act as a negative catalyst. Let's see. Here we go. So we got ticker symbol FB. So FB right here. A little bit more on the overbought side, but Facebook has been doing pretty well, making higher highs and higher lows ever since its lows right around 250. So I take, obviously that into consideration. Normally it performs pretty well during its earnings report, and based off of previous earnings, it acted as a bullish notion, which makes sense on why, leading up to it, it's doing so well. Do I think it's the best deal right now for a day trade? No. You could see how, kind of like how it trades, where it pushes up, becomes overbought, and then pulls back. Pushes up, becomes overbought, and then pulls back. It pushes up, becomes overbought, but again, we have earnings, so if it's overbought enough and its guidance might be a little bit off, that can act as a negative catalyst. So if anything, I would look for more of when it is pulling back and indicating this, proper reversal, and when we get confirmation, that it would make a little bit more sense to me there. But let's go ahead and move on to the next one, BBY. So we talked about them today. It's Bed Bath & Beyond, right? Oh, this is Best Buy. My bad. Oh, BBY. It's BBBY, right? Bed Bath & Beyond. Overall, very, very bullish. Higher highs, higher lows. I mean, I think that this is as straightforward as it gets. We just recently made overall highs. Do I find this to be the best deal ever? No. But do I find this thing to be consistent enough that, people can find it attractive and that it's a reliable one? Then yeah, of course. I mean, it's been making higher highs, higher lows, holding above the SMA line. We're testing the EMA line as of right now. I would set my alert right around this general area, around 119. Do I think the margin is worth it? Again, that's all based off preference. 4% is definitely not bad, but just take into consideration, especially as the market's being a little choppy, that of course it can continue to sell off, and normally it has a history in bouncing off of the SMA line, so just make sure that you also take that into consideration as well. Let's go ahead and break down one more. I'll talk about one stock that I'm paying attention to next week, and then we can go from there. So, and again, I really appreciate you guys being so patient with me today, just because I had to reset the live stream. So I really hope that if any of the stocks we talk about today, are ones you see value in, I hope that you can consider dropping a thumbs up if you feel like we earned it. It would, of course, really help us out. So we got Matt here with ticker symbol BJ. So there it goes. We're at $39. So one of the things that I would take into consideration right now is it's doing a lot of consolidation. This thing is not consistently selling off. It's not consistently pushing up. If anything, it is a little bit more on the oversold side based off of recent patterns. But again, it continues to get rejected off of that SMA line. So would I see this to be a long-term play? No. Would I see this to be a day trade you can scalp because of the consistency and the consolidation? Yes, being able to buy the lows and then sell the highs, which is about a 7% margin. So I see why you're paying attention to it. But again, we just need to take into consideration that it could break that pattern at any time. And if it does, it is trading below the SMA line, which means that it could begin to make lower lows and lower highs. So the one that I personally wanted to talk about today is, I believe it was PLUG. I just think it's such a beautiful setup. I'm super biased with, overall uptrend patterns. It offers a lot of consistency. The margin, in my opinion, is pretty attractive based off of recent highs. It's nearly 30%. So because of that, based off of the current price point right now, again, I like to focus on good things, on three things: good deals, bullish direction, and then the last thing is consistency with the pattern. And we definitely have a lot of that with this overall bullish pattern. It's very consistent. And as of right now, because of how much it has sold off and it's at the SMA line, it tends to bounce on this and then continue to push up. I think it's a decent setup, but again, only time will tell. And that's why I have my series of alerts set up right here, as I think that once we get proper confirmation of a reversal, then it would begin to make sense for me to be able to add a little bit to my position size. But that's really just it. One of the things that I wanted to remind you, there's the third link down below. We just dropped our new Techman's Apparel. It's the Wall Street collection. So if you guys click the third link down below, you guys can click on the shop apparel, and all the new Wall Street shirts, long sleeves, and the hoodies, which are my favorite. The hoodies are pretty much sold out, if I'm not mistaken, in certain sizes. So something that you have to take into consideration. But these hoodies themselves come with fuzzy letters. Again, we just wanted to make it somewhat unique. So it's been a hit so far. I think we nearly sold out on the first day. So I appreciate all of your guys' support. If you guys want to check it out, great. On top of that, the wall art. We created some two new ones for the aluminum art. So if you guys haven't seen those and want to take that into consideration, then again, you can see that under wall art. But please don't forget to stay connected. We do run the largest Facebook group in the world for those who trade in the stock market, and that's that first link down below. So if you guys want to stay connected and connect with other like-minded individuals, then that's that first link down below to join our free Facebook group. I will see you guys tomorrow at Market Open for our live trading session. And if you want to learn more about that, click the second link down below and we can go from there. I really do appreciate you guys' time. I hope that we earned your thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.